within me, I live on and on, like the waters of life and the salt in the sea. I live on and on, but I don't yet know where the waters of life and the salt of the sea, they dissolve. There's a wind and it blows and it thunders, and the rains come and go on the plains. Once I saw you there standing before me, and now I am here all alone. And I know deep within me you live on and on, like the waters of life and the salt in the sea. You live on and on, but I don't yet know when the waters of life and the salt of the sea, they dissolve. When I die while you're alive, where am I? When I die while you're alive, where am I? Chideva dehastu, Chideva lokash, Chideva bhutani, Chidendriyani, Karta chidanta karanam, Chideva sarvam paramartha.
Om Shanti. A woman was playing harmonium and she was singing. The voice was ugly, almost nauseating. An unmelodious cacophony, a long drawn out, harsh, intense voice, so much so that her neighbor could not sleep. And it reached a point that he had to come to tell her to stop. It was almost 2 a.m. in the morning. The knock on the door, and the woman opened the door. The man said, "Stop, enough is enough. I cannot take this anymore. Stop your singing and your playing. Otherwise I will go mad." The woman said, "I already stopped 2 hours back. The man has already gone mad." Extreme aversion leads to madness. Extreme attachment can also lead to madness. Extremes, the polarities, they drive you mad. They have momentum and they build up. When there is a dislike for somebody, dislike gets added to dislike. dislike is piled up upon dislike, and the cumulative dislike, the settled dislike, is called hatred, and it manifests in the form of avoidance, annoyance. In the path of spiritual progress, all attachments distract the mind, makes it restive and mad. So today's Murli is the third Murli in the series of renunciation. On day one, Baba talked about renunciation and fortune. Without renunciation, there is no fortune. The second course of renunciation is the renunciation of body consciousness. The third course of renunciation is the renunciation of being a slave to the senses, which Baba discussed yesterday. We discussed yesterday. A slave is always unhappy, depressed, upset, confused, distressed, stuck, slips down the throne, files, complains, and ninth, he is like a spider in the web. What? And today, Baba is talking of yet another aspect of renunciation, and that is the renunciation of relationships. When you come in contact with people, either you get attached or you start disliking them. Either there is too much of attachment, like, so this is the third renunciation. Whether Laukik relationships or Alaukik, the same thing will happen here. So these two aspects, attachment and dislike, so the first thing is, Baba also mentioned about who is Vardani, who is Mahadani, the great donor. Who gives without any selfishness, without any vested interest. He is the great donor. And Vardani, the bestower of blessings, is the one who is full. who gives without selfishness, elevated feelings, that person is Vardani. And for both of these, you have to become Mahatyagi, the great renunciate. And this Murli discusses about renunciation of relationships. The moment attachment enters the relationships, they become poisonous. The moment dislike, hatred, the feeling to avenge, to maintain, wicked distance arises, the relationship is spoiled. People start hiding their feelings, they stop sharing. The distance grows. So, this is a very important aspect of practical life. Baba wants detachment in relationships, but detachment does not mean forcing detachment. Detachment does not mean showing off detachment. Detachment is the natural outpouring of staying conscious, aware, maintaining conscious relationships without clinging. It is the outpouring of something higher. It is the blossoming of the consciousness. It is the blossoming of the love, the universal love, which results in beautiful relationships. Otherwise, sometimes there is attachment, and then the next moment there is dislike. The pendulum is never stable. It keeps on moving. Sometimes you love somebody so much, and then out of that familiarity arises contempt, dislike, hatred. You don't want to be with that person. You are no more in his good books. And he becomes enemy. The greatest enemies are your past greatest friends. The greatest enemy is not somebody who is suddenly coming and becoming enemy. The pendulum has shifted. So, these are the two things which are discussed in today's Murli. The first, dislike. So, when you start disliking somebody, what all things happen? First, your intellect gets disturbed because that person doesn't do those things which you want. One. Second, reverse thinking. You start thinking in opposite direction. The third, you try to remember the father, but you start remembering that person. Next, selfishness. And then, paradarshan, wasteful thinking. This is the cycle that starts one after the other. opposite churning. So much so that you want to take revenge. And the relationship is destroyed. The doubt enters, the suspicion enters. You start getting pestered, tongue. And then your time goes, your intellect goes, your power in repairing the relationship which is beyond repair. So this is entire cycle of dislike. It starts with selfishness. He should do this, he should do that. It should be like this. So swarth, selfishness, intellect, disturb, you get disturbed. The reverse flow of thought, and then your intellect, your time, your money, your energy, everything is wasted. A wasteful relationship is the leakage of energy. So that is the first thing. The second thing is about attachment. Which is better? Attachment or dislike? Dislike is better. What is better? Attachment, Baba said, the perishable love, the perishable attainments, and perishable support. So when there is a disturbance in life, any circumstances in life, you are confused, you rush to that person for support, for love, for some attainment. And then Baba said these people give excuses that God is formless, He is incorporeal. We need somebody in the corporeal form, but they forget that. There's a very powerful statement in the Murli that if you have experience of all relationships with one God, if you have experience of all attainments with one Father, and if you have unwavering faith, all support will come from Him. Though He is formless, though He is incorporeal and Saka, Akar, you will feel His presence. Bhasana. So when there is an attachment between two souls, the cycle is set in. The cycle of give and take. The karmic account bondage. Book of accounts gets opened, and each day a new chapter is written. The chapter of give and take. I gave you this, you give me this. The chapter of expectations. And Baba said, this Atma, this soul, becomes a soul caught in the trap of karmic bondage. And then 4-5 things happen. What are those things? First, relationship with Father will go down. The experience will not happen. Second, the speed of remembrance will come down. Third, the essence would be lost. The fourth, they cannot become a destroyer of obstacle. And fifth, the methodological progress is halted. So these are the 5 things that happens when there is a deeper attachments. So goal is not to not to suppress the attachment or to go away from that person. It's about developing detachment, a loving detachment, a detachment arising out of pure consciousness, of awareness. So when you get situated in higher consciousness, automatically you don't have to go away from people, you don't have to block their number, nor put them in reject list, or cut their calls. The spirit rises up and automatically everything gets aligned. By suppression, by forcing, by simply sitting and discussing, this thing will not happen. It's a spiritual detachment. Baba said such a person might be very good. They can speak nicely, but then the essence is lost. So, the goal is to reach a stage where the pendulum is in the middle. The goal is to reach that stage of neutrality. The goal is to reach that state of constant awareness and spontaneity, where we come in contact with people and yet remain detached. Because in the heart of heart, we have understood that everything is going to come from God. All human relationships are frail relationships, very weak. They cannot give you that which you want. There is utter emptiness in human bondings because it is marred with so much expectations, selfishness, chahiye, I want, I want, I want. So they are based on selfishness. They are based on expectations. They are based on wants. And that is the hollowness, emptiness of these relationships. That's why Baba said, if you have steadfast faith, if you have then unperturbed belief in the divine, if you have that deeper experiences of all relationships with Him, you cannot get trapped. The relationships are very attractive, seductive, fanciful. They promise happiness, but ultimately ends up in sorrow. So be staying with Him, staying lost in His love. Attachment is not something to be given up, or detachment is not something to be cultivated. These are the outflowings of higher consciousness. You don't do anything, automatically things will happen. But yet, if you are deeply trapped in some attachment, then you have to plan. Find out first, what is the cause of this attachment? Second, what are the disadvantages? What losses I have incurred? You don't have to forget persons, keep remembering them, because they are the lessons that life has taught you. Somebody has deceived you, you don't have to forget that person, keep remembering, but know well that I don't have to repeat the same mistake again. The deception should become teacher. So the first task, you can create a symbol of a person who is free from attachment. The second task, think of some spiritual practices to get rid of deep attachment. It could be anything, mindfulness or whatever. The third thing is practice speaking positively about a person whom you hate. There's a person in every meeting, when you put some idea, that person has to oppose that idea. Now you know of one such person who keeps on opposing you all the time. Can you think of him and think something positive? Yes, your feedback is constructive. I liked it. Good that you spoke. And can you speak something positive about that person to the third person in the absence of that person? So that is the task. And the last, study the life of a saint, some well-known figure, or you can take even Brahma Baba, and find out incidences where he or she has shown extreme detachment. One of the examples is Saint Teresa of Avila. There's a Christian Catholic nun who desired to become a nun from a very childhood. At the age of 13, at the age of 16, at the age of 20, she came to church and she wanted to become a nun, but plagued by so many physical illnesses, and how the things happened in her life, and how suddenly she got a book, Confession of Saint Augustine, and she got converted, and how she moved towards higher consciousness from lower consciousness. It is a struggle of a woman to become beloved of God. So there are many instances of such souls in the history where souls have shown extraordinary detachment and vairagya and dispassion and extreme love for God. Keep studying the lives of such people and they'll inspire you. Their lives will inspire you and will lead you towards the path of detachment. Om Shanti.